I was so triggered by him attacking everyone else. I mean, I was just like, fucking attack me, bro.
Yeah.
Come and fucking pick on someone your own fucking size is basically what I felt, you know? And I'm like, if I can be I would rather be the pincushion for all their fucking energy than all the trans people, all the random people who definitely cannot afford to lose their jobs. Like, I would rather have his audience coming at me than all of that. How you doing, man?
Welcome. Good. And you go by Alex, he, him?
So I go by AJ. You can definitely
AJ.
call me Alex. Plenty of people.
Okay.
I kind of gone back and forth throughout my life, and it's totally fine. You can call me AJ. And yeah, I'm he, him. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. And thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. No problem, man. Thanks for making the time.
Yeah, well, so first off, I wanted to start this conversation by saying I haven't talked to you. I found out about you because of the Vosh video. You reviewed my video of Vosh when he freaked out about motorcycles, which, you know, he had that unhinged opinion. And it's funny because I did watch him for like years because I was not on YouTube at all. I didn't pay any fucking attention at all until 2016. And politics is what like got me. I was like, fuck, I got to start paying attention. And then it was that liberal streamer pipeline of like Destiny to Bosch to like all, you know, almost Hassan, but like, yeah. And then I kind of got out of all of that because I was like, oh, I don't agree with a lot of these guys about anything, like about several important things. Like Destiny, It was his Palestine stuff was really, really bad, and I just hated it. And Bosch just became a fucking prick, and I was like, I don't want to deal with that. But the two things I was impressed by your coverage because of a couple of things you said. First off, the fact that you're just like, I love your worker first attitude. Like, it's so simple and so it's like what we have to have, especially right now, right? Like we talk about like leftist infighting and solidarity. It's like, it really is just like that simple. It's like, if you work a fucking job, it's like going back to why I'm here, right? If you work a fucking job right now, it's critically important we find some way to come together, regardless of even like, if you got conservative people in your job, you know, people that are maybe even like Trump support, like we have to figure out how to come together and have solidarity because it's like the world is falling apart. The country is falling apart. We're running out of time to be able to just like nitpick over things. You know, we got to agree on some stuff.
It's true. People don't have like, they don't really have a fundamental relationship to it and they get confused because of it. I think people really get like detracked. And it's like, no, just start with a good fundamental thing. Workers are workers. Because it's hard at first because then you'll have to have that moment where you go like, oh man, you know, like this guy in the fucking, he's an asshole. He's like fucked up to women and stuff. It's like, okay, I know he is. He's a piece of shit. But are you going to let them use that against you in order to fuck up your bargaining? It's like, nah, fuck. And, you know, hey, this person is a lot like you. You know, like, okay, yeah, I love them. They're a worker too. Okay, this person's not. Fuck. Like, no, you've got to stump out and it's got to be workers first. And once we have that, we can work out of it. And you know that's the case because that's the first thing that they always try to break up when they're trying to fuck with us. The capitalists, the people that are running shit, they want you to start going, no, they're not like me. No, they're not like me. They have this, they have that, they have that. And hyperfixate on those things. And I think it's so fundamental. And you can really see when you start paying attention to that fundamentality, people like Vosh, who it's like, okay, you can spit a little game when it comes to like trans rights issues. Okay, cool. And like you seem to know a little bit about some economic stuff. Okay, fair. But then like the second it's someone that you don't like, it's just raw like fucking reactionary psychosis. You don't want to learn about it. You don't want to give them their due. And like, yeah, the fucking, I think the motorcycle thing was one of the first ones where I was starting my like big like, okay, I got to start double checking this guy's takes arc. And they're nuts. Do you know what I mean? Like, I grew up around people with motorcycles. My dad had a motorcycle. He actually dumped a motorcycle when I was a kid, and his leg's short now because of it. It's bad driving.
Oh no.
Yeah. He went under a guardrail, or the bike and his leg went under the guardrail, and the rest of him went over it. So he was 9 months out. And, you know, but I still grew up around him. All my uncles had them when I was in the Marines, my buddy TJ. So I know about all sorts of stuff, pack banning, lane splitting, and driving and the expensive back tire, the whole fucking kit and caboodle, you know? And so when people start talking about motorcyclists, I'm like, hey, dude, a little bit of loud is not anything compared to, they save money, it's way fucking cheaper, and they're always in way more danger than everybody else on the road. Like, you can't get road rash unless you really fuck up if you're driving even, you know, like a Hyundai. It's very hard to lose all the skin on your fucking bicep, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And your knowledge of that was the other thing I wanted to compliment you on, that really like that I was like, oh, I like this guy, because when I talked about the bike I ride, which is a 2017 R1M, that was the bike I was primarily riding at the time. And I've got another, I just bought a BMW, it was super cheap. And I say BMW, like it was a $30,000 bike that I got for $7,100.
Oh, nice.
With 3,100 miles on it, because a rich guy in Bellevue, never drove it. But I needed a more responsible daily driver. But you were able to communicate to your audience. You were like, you don't understand. This guy is riding a fucking laser missile everywhere he goes. This guy is a psycho. You don't understand how much, how big of a deal this is, because in the motorcycle community, when I talk about riding in the winter here, when it's just pouring the fuck down rain and traffic is terrible, it's that was my daily. I was losing the rear as I'm going at 120. That was super impressive too. And then I want you to know that part of what I did here and choosing to do what I did was because of something you said. You said something I think in that stream, or maybe in one of them. And what you said was you were talking about people who complain about you, or you were talking about the haters or whatever. And what you said is what these people don't understand is that I'll just go back and get a regular job. I am not above having a regular ass job if streaming or whatever doesn't work out. And that's exactly how I fucking feel. Is I've had a regular job. I've been working since fucking 16 years old. I started actually 15 and a half. I started working at a paper route. I had a paper route at 14, worked at KFC at 15,
Nice.
Worked at fucking my parents' Quiznos for 2 years, worked at Best Buy, and then moved here, finally got into a real, my entry level tech job, help desk tech job at a financial services company. And then I moved into and then I just got massively promoted. Everywhere I went, I just actively succeeded because I have a lot of energy and I'm very competitive. I want to do well everywhere I go. And I like to be I like to be a really solid team player. I'm used to being really good at everything. And I'm not afraid that if I get fired from Nord, I'll go do help desk for half what I made. I don't care. That's just people lose that right, because I think they're in the capitalism game. They want millions of dollars. They want to retire. They want the expensive shit, and I'm just I don't dream for any of that.
People do lose track of it. It's not about you should be the ultimate goal is to be able to have a good job or a bad job, but be able to work and always be, I'm a worker, and then have some other shit to do, as opposed to just permanently being I'm just completely relying on the system, not just for my payment, but for my validation. My entire existence is wrapped around this because I just want to feel better than other people. And that's where people start losing their mind. And you see it on YouTube, you see it outside, oh, hey, what's up, little bro? When are you going to start making money? That kind of stuff. It's dude, I don't, if I have enough, I'm good. And I know what the limit is. $100,000 more a year. I don't have kids. I'm in my late 30s. I don't know what I would do with it. $1 million a year? What the fuck would I spend it? I would probably just be dumping it back into the community trying to do it. And that's why I'm it's fine to get these high taxes on the kind of money you're never going to spend or see. You couldn't spend it. Do you know what I mean? In order to kind of keep things down. And it's also okay to it's okay to have a job. It's okay to work. It's okay to get set back. It's okay to go out there and say what are you doing? Man, I'm out here. I'm going to city council. I'm doing it. One of the people I was he changed the game for me. And I don't think I've ever even really talked to him. Was a dude named Mike Pushkin, who is a state senator, I think, or a state representative in West Virginia. And he's famous for being dogged on the entire time. He's the leader, basically, of the leftist caucus in the West Virginia state legislature. And he's a taxi driver. He was driving a taxi before they even had ride shares and stuff, Ubers. And he ran as a taxi driver, and he ran on working class issues, and people loved him. And he's been doing it for forever. He's a mainstay. And that's really what it should be. We don't need Harvard educated, this and that, and what happened? This is a person with no qualifications, no stakeholdership, nothing, but they have at least 2 or 3 suits, and they went to fucking Harvard School of Business. It's I don't know if I need that, man. I think I'm fine with just a taxi driver who knows the fucking game. Some guy who works the fucking help desk and rides a motorcycle. What does he know about? I don't know. We have traffic problems. I'm pretty sure he's got fucking opinions on lights. This guy can tell you the quality of the road coverage.
And so many, I noticed that in our media landscape, part of what, and I'm sure, obviously I feel like we should probably tell your audience like why the hell I'm here. Like,
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
please.
Yeah. But, which is that I got fired from Nordstrom as part of like the Charlie Kirk, reckoning these fucking mob that's just going around, just getting everyone fired who doesn't have the right opinion or speaks out or anything. And honestly, I did a lot more than have the wrong opinion. And I'm actually really glad for it, because I'm realizing that, what I did was like here, and people are getting fired for doing stuff that's like here, like nothing. And it is the definition of like, and like, again, like the fact that like was obviously a project. Like they were waiting for this moment to just be like, now we can finally we can crack down on speech. And I could go very in depth, because part of what brought me here is like realizing that Charlie Kirk was at the center of this politics and religion and politics, religion and media. That he was absolutely the center. He was a foundational, critical element to all of this, which is why they're freaking out, which is why they're like, we have to do it now. This is the moment. We must canonize this person. We must martyr this person, and we must go, because I'm doing fuck tons of research on Sean Foyt and this Christian nationalist, Christian dominionist movement that is the core of this MAGA base, that is the core of the fascist state that is rising in America is this Christian fascism. But yeah, so I got fired for there's a let me just tell the story. I'm gonna quickly breeze through it. Okay. So 6 months ago or whatever, Trump got elected. And I was like, coming off of Trump one, I was like, this is gonna be worse, obviously. How bad is it gonna be? Unknown, but let's not chicken little about it. Let's like wait and see. And obviously within weeks or months, it was like, they're going for the trans community, they're going for the immigrants, like they're going hard. And I realized like they see the moment that they're in, they see the power they have, and they're not gonna let it go. They're not gonna fuck around. They don't know if Trump's gonna be able to get another term. They're gonna fucking try, obviously, but they need to strike. And so I started getting politically activated again in a way of like I went to when all the federal workers got fired, I went to a federal worker protest event, and I just saw what it was like. And I went in like black bloc. I was very cautious, because the last time I was in the streets was the CHOP in 2020. Because what your audience might not know is one of the biggest things that got me started on YouTube was that after I started my channel just doing motorcycle stuff, and then a fucking off-duty detective drew a gun on me randomly while I was sitting at a fucking stoplight, just like right here in my face.
Which I'd seen, actually. I'd seen that being reshared on TikTok. I was like, he's that guy. He's the guy that the guy... It's shady as fuck, too. To set the scene for people out there, if you haven't seen it, it's not like it's just some schlubby fucking white dude comes up to it and like he's got his gun out like a fucking 1920s gangster, and like, come here, buddy. Like, point out, like, I don't know if you know this, but like, it's like you're like, I could kill you right now. Like, what the fuck, like, bro? I'm wearing a fucking camera on my head. That's what this thing is. Like, crazy,
yeah, I had a camera.
Crazy.
I had earplugs in. I couldn't hear a fucking thing he said. I just put my hands up immediately, and I was just like, "Don't fucking shoot me," you know. And he's yelling at me to like give me his wallet and shit, or give him his wallet. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not putting my fucking hands down until this gun's off me. I've seen cops. I know what cops do the moment you go for your fucking wallet. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that got me started, and then I sued the King County Sheriff's Department. I fucking won, and that's what bought me that R1M. I got a faster version of the bike that guy fucking stopped me on. It was so great. But like I've been police violence is just like really, like, I'm traumatized. Like, that's my trauma. Like, that's my thing. I think that's like the core of our problem, right? Because the police state is what upholds the capitalist state that is oppressing us at the end of the day. They are the foot soldiers. Like, that is the core problem. And so when people were in the fucking streets about cop shit and like defunding and reforming or what the fuck ever, I was so activated by it, and seeing the CHOP and seeing the fact that like the cops just fucking ran because they were so fucking scared of like just people being in the streets. Like, it was so empowering.
Yeah.
And so, but since then, and that was like a really aggressive moment. Like, there was a lot of shit that happened there. There was a lot of shit I saw. I posted some of it on my channel. Y'all can see it. I mean, I spent days in the CHOP just hanging out, meeting people, and like learning. Like, that really got me started down like anarchist principles and like mutual aid principles and more community defense principles. And so now I'm back and I'm like doing the federal stuff, and it's like, oh, this is way more chill. This isn't as big a deal. And I'm going to the 5501 protests. And like, I'm realizing every time I'm there, there's some sort of guy that people really don't like, who's got a camera, who's doing just goofy shit. They look like they're harassing people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's strange, but I'm starting to notice them. And then I meet Cam Higbee at this, these Christian nationalists come to Seattle in May, and they make a really big deal out of it. And they are, when they go, is like, they're doing it on purpose to provoke a response on purpose. Like, they want that, and they want the attention. There's they are part of the Christian nationalist movement. There's 300 million of these people that are part of this movement globally, but like, it's tens of millions of Americans are part of this Christian dominionist movement. And so I see him there. People are pointing him out, but I don't know anything about him until after the event, because at that event, one of those provocateurs who I approached and like confronted actively, because I finally recognized him. He's a guy by the name of Jonathan Cho, and he's been around here. He's a disgraced former journalist who was found to be like harassing homeless people, harassing women, like attacking people, like coming up with excuses to hit people and shit. And he did it right in front of me. He had a guy just right fucking in front of me. I watched him run to a cop a block fucking away down the street, tell him, that guy assaulted me. The cop says, I saw the whole thing. And he runs, arrests the guy he fucking hit, arrests a random dude who was just nowhere fucking near it. Bike cops come in because it's all an excuse. It's all a pretext to do their violence. And I just, again, very radicalizing against this people, realizing, oh, fuck, these people are violent in multiple ways. They can inflict physical violence on you. They can inflict violence from the state on you because they are effectively operating as an arm of the police, as not just propagandists, but like active informants and like targeting specific people. And they can inflict their mob violence on you. There's three. Anyway, so I'm realizing how dangerous these people are. And I start paying way more fucking attention. And Cam Higbee was the guy who did an interview with Jonathan Cho right after that was totally where he just fabricates what happens, like makes up people like grabbing him and shit. It's so overt. Yeah. And it was, again, very enlightening of like, how the fuck are these people fabricating just a totally different version of events? And then that event went viral because I had my helmet in my arm, and you know, it's like got a skull on it, and I'll grab it here in a bit, but it's got like an like it's got a swastika like crossed through it and shit, and like it's intimidating looking. And I realized I scared the fuck out of that guy. But yeah, like, and that was my first like point, them Fox News pointing at me and being like, that's a radical leftist, look at Antifa, you know. Meanwhile, I've got a have a gay day shirt on, which is like kind of like a belly shirt almost. And it's like super tight, you know? But yeah, so that happens. And then I'm monitoring this guy. I'm watching this guy. You fast forward, and like Charlie Kirk dies, and Cam Higbee is paid directly by TPUSA. He contracts with TPUSA. I actually have had a series of text messages in the back, because I was sincerely trying to like get to know this kid in order to either ideally get him to stop harassing the trans people and the queer people and like coming to these events and like creating this misinformation, or B, you know, find a way to like maybe plug him for some information that I can learn to like help defend and protect against it. And I thought I might have had an accord with him. But then 3 weeks ago, when this next Christian nationalist event came, you know, we have this big conversation. He legitimately was like, I want to collab with you. I want to meet with you. I just want to talk to you and like do the, you know, in-person debate thing. And my crew is like, a lot of the people I ride with and shit, my friends, like they're trans. And like, I'm not going to fucking rehabilitate some fucking fascist is fucking with them, you know, like I'm very aware of that. And so I'm like, you're going to need to demonstrate that you're not going to do this shit anymore. Like, we need to get you into the point where you're not being a fucking giant piece of shit. Yeah. And which of course does not. Oh, and that's exactly why. And that's part of what led to it, is because then I watched what he did. I watched the frontline event, which you can see, I put it in my apology video. But which I'll talk about in a second. But he literally just like went to the Christian nationalists and said, what do you think about trans people? Do you hate trans people? And they said, no, of course we don't. We love trans people. We invite them in. They're so welcome. And then he's like, and then they go on to describe like this trans person that came in and they respected we just asked you to respect the bathrooms. And it's just total fabrication, because I then side by side that with Sean Foyt's tweet where he's saying that God is not queer. Trans people are demonically possessed. Like, it's just, it's total A, B, right? It's what they say to each other versus what they say to a public forum to liberals. And I fucking lost it. And I was like, fuck this guy. Nope, he's fucking dead to me. He is an opponent only, and it is about defeating him as much as possible. True. And so then, like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, like last week, I saw him set up a little, after Charlie Kirk died, he starts tripping the fuck out. He starts the doxing campaign. I'm watching his Twitter, and he's just doxing dozens of random people, and he's encouraging. He says, bring it to me. Send more tips to this email. We're gonna hunt them all down one by one. I mean, he was absolutely on the front lines of starting that process. And I was enraged. I was like, I can't believe Twitter, this is what Twitter is now. Twitter is just, you can dox, like it's an active coordination platform for doing this, which is why I've now deactivated my Twitter account. I don't want to be anywhere near that platform. And that I saw that, and then he went down literally 10 minutes from my fucking house, just down the street where I play fucking soccer. I was like, he set up this little debate me, opinions shouldn't get you killed type bullshit. God, yeah. And I was like, fuck that. I'm going down. And I fucking told everyone, and I was like, and I went down alone, and I had to ride through the fucking thing. And like, he was like back in a weird little corner too. Like he was not anywhere obvious. And I fucking get off, and your audience can go watch for what I did. I spent an hour screaming at him, and I told him exactly what I felt. I said, I'm like, you should be fucking embarrassed to be in this community. You are here exploiting this community for a global audience. Like you are scum. And the fact and one of the things he shared with me is I was like, what do you think? Like, what are your friend groups like? They're totally depoliticized because he lives two different lives. He lives the life with his girlfriend and his friends that nobody knows what the fuck he does. And then he lives his real life, which is what he loves doing, which is being a fucking troll, which is actively like antagonizing the community, acting as a scout for the right-wing media in order to select targets. And because he works for this frontline TPUSA piece, I mean, like he literally is influencing Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is just watching television and making decisions off what he sees on Fox News. So when on Fox News, they play me screaming at him, I never hit him. What they're mad about is because again, he's a big tough guy, right? If you go read Cam Higby's Twitter, you'll see very tough, strong opinions about things. So I said, hey man, do you know what mutual combat is? And for your audience,
shut the fuck up.
For your audience, mutual combat is a law where you can agree to a physical conflict if both people agree, And I said, hey, I think we can solve our problems with mutual combat. What do you think, Cam? And he's like, no. I'm like, are you sure? Are you really sure? Like, I just really think we should do mutual combat,
Oh my God.
And that really enraged his audience, the people, the hundreds of people that have been like, fly to North Carolina and I'll beat your ass. Like the people that want me to Uber to them so they can beat the fuck out of me. Like,
when do you have free time to come to fucking Tuscaloosa? Like, can you hop on out to Little Rock? Like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know any of you. I know Cam Higby. I know what he's doing. I'm not a violent person. I've actually never been in like a physical fight before in my fucking life. But I played football. I mean, I play like aggressive sports, and obviously like motorcycles. Like I love risk and danger, and like it doesn't scare me. But
you got the heart for it.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, go look at Cam Higby and look at me, and and I'm like a decade. I'm 15 years older than that guy, but like. I don't know. I'm like, I'm an old man. You could probably take me, bro. Like, what are you're in peak physical condition, right? You're peak male condition. He just like, changes his shirt because he's like embarrassed because he looks fat. But yeah, so I screamed at him. I told him exactly what I felt. And then I think people were really mad because he had his little sign. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but I basically like stress tested it, I was like, how's this work? And I pulled it and it just fucking rips down. And when he did that, he ran out and he grabbed his mace. And I'm like, oh, you're going to mace me, dog? Go for it. Mace me for pulling your thing down, right?
But I was incredibly... Is this him, right?
Cam
Higby. You can't see him on my screen. Yeah, I just looked him up.
C-A-M Higby. Or I call him Ham Pigby is what I call him. But
popping up. Oh, never mind.
But he's definitely Cam Higby. And I'm sure if you go SquidTips, crazy radical leftist, people will find these clips. I mean, he did like a whole video on me right after it happened that really was like the trigger for everyone to just brigade all my content, start harassing my partner. My partner's trans, and they started going to her, and you just see like, I am Charlie Kirk, like 40 fucking comments down all her fucking shit. They obviously, like, the death threats are coming. My dog died last month, and like yeah, and she was 14, it was really sudden. So like she was my girl, I live with her. Like I got divorced a couple years back. I got a dog and a naked cat. And like my dog was just super, super important to me. And like I've been so stressed out and busy trying to do mutual aid shit and work. Like I haven't been able to fucking even bury her yet,
Oh man.
Like, and these people are like, fuck your dog. I'm glad they're dead. Like, fuck you, your dog's better off. Like, I'm just like, holy shit. These people are psych. Like they're mad at me, but I'm like, I've clearly like triggered the psychos.
Yes.
Like, so they obviously call Nordstrom. So that happened on Friday. And then Saturday I get an HR text, hey, like, and I put my version of that video up from like my POV, like just laughing and clowning on him for, 20 minutes or whatever. And then they're like, Nordstrom's policy is that what you do in your time is your time, but we would like to ask you to pull it down. And I said, sure. You know what? I'm looking back at it. I had some conversation with my partner. She was like, I don't think you should have did that. And I was like, I agree. I probably shouldn't have done that. But I was so triggered by him attacking everyone else. I mean, I was just like, fucking attack me, bro.
Yeah.
Comment fucking pick on someone your own fucking size is basically what I felt, And I'm like, if I can I would rather be the pincushion for all their fucking energy than all the trans people, all the random people who definitely cannot afford to lose their jobs. Like, I would rather have his audience coming at me than all of that. Mm-hmm. So, it is what it is. And then Sunday,
they really get by on the, you can't stand up to a bully thing. Like, you're impolite, you're crossing the boundaries, they can get in there, they can worm it around, they'll cut everything. And other people are like, normal fucking people don't carry around cameras, they don't edit videos, they don't risk putting their faces online. And so for them to even go up and, it's the first time they've even talked to somebody, go like, you know what, you're a fucking asshole. And they walk away, they become famous. Everyone gets scared. And so they have to go like 10 times harder to dissuade people like me, especially people like you are going to go out there and be like, dude, you're a fucking piece of shit. I really want to beat your ass. And if it was legal, I would fuck you up because like, this is just too much for me to fucking handle. And like, we got to figure that out. I can't live like this with you around. And you're not allowed to fucking say that. It does. It builds the fuck up in you. You're like, I can't. How the fuck are we letting you walk around saying things about black people and trans people and all these other motherfuckers that can't like defend themselves? And you get fucking futzed up in the head. Yeah, I get it, man. And they get by on this preconception that like somehow everybody else on earth is going to lose their ability to fucking talk about normal shit if they can't flirt with the fucking N-word and every other goddamn slur in public to people's faces and not face consequences. They want to be provocative, but they don't want to provocate an ass whooping. And that's it's so un-American to me. It's crazy. It's like, dude, what movie have you seen growing up where someone would tolerate this? Why like all of my heroes would be fucking turning you inside out right now. I don't know why I'm stuck not doing this, but like, I'm sorry, Sunday.
No, you're totally right. These are modern day yellow journalists. Like they utilize sensationalism. They utilize like bad framing, and they are playing off of an audience that does not seek context and is only looking for like a dramatic moment. And I equate them to the many people, like when I've crashed my motorcycle, I've always like made sure to like watermark the crash because there are all these channels that go around and collect those clips and then turn them into like aggregations, and like that was like big business. You could build a whole business on YouTube for years, just like collecting other people's clips, posting them in a big thing. YouTube slowly cracked down on that. But like the people who watch those videos are not motorcycle riders. Those are people who get off on watching other people fucking get fucked up, especially if they don't like them. And a lot of people have a fucking bone to pick about motorcycle riders for their own fucking reasons, just like Bosch, right? And so that's
it's the same shit as knockout videos, or
yes.
like, oh hey, well, like there's 10 people in a fucking country of 375 million, 10 black people did a fucking crazy thing this last year. All 10 of them in their worst moment, we're going to play it back to back to back. And then that way we can fill the fucking entire comment section up with like typical, typical, typical. And that's what they want. They want to be confirmed in their biases because they're racist pieces of shit. Or they're fucking bigoted against something like, you know, a fucking motorcyclist. And people don't have the wherewithal to catch themselves when they get fucking tripped up like that. And it does happen on the other side. There's people that try to play on that same mentality on our side. And I think that's one of the things that fucks up our solidarity too. Because you get like these fucking like compilations. And then you do have someone like Vosh who goes as hard against fucking, you know, just a person that lives on the other side of the fucking, freeway, you know, living out by the fucking corn stalks as he does against, you know, a Nazi and a fucking motorcyclist. You're like, wait, what in the fuck are you selling, right? What kind of audience do you have where that's what you can trade in? Because I know they're not thinking their way through what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, and it's so toxic because what these people call themselves journalists, right? And they work for a journalistic frontline, TPUSA, journalistic outlets. But what they are is they are just propaganda. The content they make, when you watch it, you can see it is narrative building, and you're totally right. It is about dismissing concerns, frustrations, like systemic problems because of individualized actions, and like maintaining that like individualistic mentality around safety and harm and everything. And I mean, and they know it. They know they have to be doing it. And that's why these people are so critical and important and fucking dangerous. And one of the things I'm absolutely going to target is I'm going to help teach people all the things I've been fucking learning from the streets about how to deal with these people, like what are their risk profiles, how to threat model for them, because we have to do something about these people. They are so critically important because even my parents, I have arguments with shit about. They see the clips first, and then they come to me and they say, AJ, that's really just not a good look. Seattle is not what you're in Fox News saying that Christians are not welcome in Seattle. That's a bad look for you. That is their reaction. They ignore the almost 40 years of context of like knowing me and knowing like how I operate and like, and it's like if my parents are able to just get into like be manipulated by that, I mean, how is a random person gonna come off? And the number of people in our society who are, I fall back on, you can go look at all my YouTube content. I mean, I put a lot of shit up, and you can see that like I've never done that before, ever. Like the closest thing is screaming at cops, which is a different situation, you know, like, but yeah. And what happened is on Sunday, I get another text message from a different manager who is like, people are talking about this. And I'm like, well, what's going to happen? And she's like, well, you know, again, what you do on your time is your problem, basically, from Nordstrom's perspective. I'm like, all right. And then I thought about it and I said, you know what? I want to apologize. And what I want to apologize about is I want to apologize about my tone, and I want to apologize about yelling, and I want to apologize about, you know, making a scene, basically, because I did not apologize about a word I fucking said. I didn't apologize about what I conveyed. I apologized about the way I conveyed it, because it's you know, there are some people in my life that are important to me that are triggered by anger and triggered from having emotional and having problems like that. And I realize that's a thing. And even though I was definitely in control in the sense I never attacked him, you know, I didn't fucking hit him. I was clearly like capable of like restricting that, but everything sort of like, I'm going to physically attack this person. I was able to hold down, you know, again, never been in a fight, never been arrested for anything like that, never been accused of anything like that ever. So yeah, so I did the apology video, but I wrapped it in the context of like why I was so frustrated. And like, I also wanted to demonstrate that like, I really think we live in a world, you know, after the post Andrew Tate's, post manosphere, we live in a world where men never apologize for anything, never back down towards anything, any mistakes they make. And especially men are allowed to be angry. They're allowed to lose control, and it's allowed to be okay. And I just wanted to demonstrate that like, actually, I think masculinity is like not doing that, you know, and it's identifying those people and being willing to admit when you did something that is at minimum like problematic, you know, like that's how I feel. That's the real me, is that version. You know, I have a lot of empathy for people. And I really do. Like, the reason I've never been in a fight is because I've solved every problem through words, through conversation, through de-escalation, you know?
Yeah. I wish I could say the same thing.
Well, you were in the military. So like,
True.
I get that. And like, not just like why, you know, you said you were in the Marines, right?
Yeah. I was infantry.
Yeah. And I've never been in the military, but my partner was like I call her like G.I. Jane. Like, she was very much like she was in the Army, and she was very much like, I mean, she knows her shit, and she cared, and she paid attention. And like, I just understand that mentality. And like, you know, I think you get into the Marines because of things that happened to you that made you maybe more prone towards aggression and things like that. And then I think the Marines also teaches you to lean into those things, you know, and like makes it difficult to like pull out of. And I'm sure you've had therapy and all that to like try to deal with those things. So,
well, I mean,
but it's like this.
Probably the Marines helped me tamp it down, because you get in trouble for that. You gotta be on it. So like, yeah, I was kind of a fuck up before I went in. They kind of cleaned my act up.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
No, I think I think it's good to also, you know, maintain your morals while you're trying to pursue these things. You know what I'm saying? And then like, we can have disparate vibes too, you know, little subtle differences between how we interact. You know, you want to pull it back and apologize. I won't think that you necessarily have to, but you do, and that's good. You did that, profound. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't figured out all these other answers, and I think that's like a big important part of this, where people want to hyperfixate on these like these wedge issues that are past it, you know. And that would be a small thing. I'm bringing it up not because it's actually an issue, but it's just like a small difference. But other people want to like, hey, no, we need to fucking stop everything. The movement's over. All right, we can talk about all this important shit later. But did you just raise your voice? Because like we gotta fucking shut this whole thing down until we figured this out. Like, you know, if fascism can wait, how about we consider your tone for a second? And you know, it's not like that wasn't obviously the thing that happened here, but like, and it's good that you have your own standpoint, and you know, you're like, I'm gonna bring my morals to this thing. Because there's too many people, I think, you see them talk in these areas, and you see the degradation of people's like moral fiber as they stay online for longer and longer and longer, and they stop, you know, even seeming like they give a shit as they make money and they accumulate an audience, and they kind of disintegrate. And I think it's important to keep your moral center relative to what you're trying to do. And I think that's a based and fucking trans flag pilled thing of you, based and post gendered thing of you to do.
And it was very much a schism in my community and like the people that I'm around. You know, there was a lot of people who said, that's a mistake. Never show the fascists that you feel bad about what you did, right? Which I think is valid. I think that is a valid perspective to have and way to prioritize it. And my priority is that no, I want to build a movement from what I have seen in the streets and from doing activist work like directly. The biggest problem I see is there is not enough people engaged actively in fighting. Yeah. And we got to bring them in, and we don't bring them in by doing that. We push people away, and like we radicalize people in a different direction.
Can I add something onto something you said? You know, like the person was talking to you and saying, you know, like that we don't apologize to fascists because that's what they want. I think the more important thing on top of that isn't necessarily what you do in that context. I think it's that you can't proceed into this situation always considering first what the fascists are doing, and then modifying your behavior in a pre-reaction to them constantly. Yes. I think that's the bigger standpoint. You know, like maybe I would disagree with you or I agree with you. I'm not saying that's the case on what you did, but I think it's good that you did it because it's your thing to do. You talk to your partner. You talk to yourself. You considered your feelings and your vibes and your actions, and then you said, I don't like it as much, and that's my decision to make. Whereas it's even if I agreed with you, based on like, well, I think that's the best way to deal with the fascists, and I'm considering them before I consider you. Even if we agree, I think you still fail. If we disagree, I still think you win in that. Because me and you can have the disagreement as anti-fascists down the line. But like when you start letting them dictate how you think, how you feel, and I know there's a lot of people out there in these spheres that are waking up every day going like, oh, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't say this. You know, especially with the, you know, Trump was waiting for this. I don't know if we should have said things like this because Trump was waiting for this moment. They were waiting for this moment. Like, dude, there is no specific moment they're waiting for. They're always ready. They are advantageous. They are taking chances the second they appear to them. That's it. They're unscrupulous. They're immediately motivated, and they want to take advantage of the moment every time it presents itself. There's nothing you can do to prevent them from being who they are. You can just maintain who you are in the face of what they represent. And I respect that about you. I wanted to say that to slow things down, but sorry, please continue.
No, I appreciate it. Fear is their most effective weapon.
Yeah.
Fear is their most effective weapon. They want you to stop yourself first, because if you go too far, right? I feel like I might have, but even I think it's at the end of the day, I don't think it's a net negative or net positive. Like what happened, like, especially now that I'm here, right? Is like, I don't see as a net negative or net positive. I think that there's a positive aspect is that some people saw it, and I got a lot of comments where people were like, felt very validated. They're like, thank you for doing that. Thank you for demonstrating that, like, we can do that. And that is what these people deserve. These people deserve complete, but they deserve people screaming at them if they're in public for what they are doing, you know? And then when I apologized, I had people say, hey, you know what? I've watched a lot of your content, and I was really surprised by that. And I was really surprised that you acted like that. And it makes me feel better that you came back and apologized and identified that it was an issue, you know? And like, I really am trying to be like, the way that Kirk was like, empathy is a weakness. I do not believe that. I think that this world needs a lot more fucking empathy. And I think I always feel the need to try to lead with that if possible, because I think that it's important that I lead by example. In every way is first, like focusing on that. You know, words are cheap, especially in this fucking world. Words are so fucking cheap online, everywhere. And again, a lot of them are fucking like Cam Higby. They're fucking just fake. They're just propaganda. But actions, they have real. You can't undo that. You know, like.
And that's what they want. They want you. They intentionally act in ways that are contradictory. There's no way to predict their behavior. You just have to know what outcome they want, and then you just work to prevent that. But what they really want you to do is nothing. They want you to be stymied. They want you to be silent. They want you to be freaked out. They want you to sit down and wait, which is why the whole thing with Charlie Kirk is crazy. Because what they wanted Charlie Kirk to do is live forever, and then when he died, what they wanted him to represent was, you know, oh my God, now everyone don't do anything. Because you saw what happened. It's like fucking he died, and now you're like, oh shit. I don't want to, like, I hate to break it to you, but the world seems like it's a little less shit with the things that he says gone. I would rather he not say them, but like the guy was stumping for the death of people, you know? I'm doing a little fucking, you know, video essay type deal as YouTubers do on the whole situation. I've been looking at archival footage of a man named George Rockwell, who I don't think you probably ever heard of. He was the founder of the American Nazi Party. He was assassinated in 1967 by a fellow expelled Nazi at the time. If you look at his career, which only lasted about 8 years, it is beat for beat everything you've ever seen in the American alt-right. The bombastic nature, his whole thing was building a reputation by going out into public and being provocative. He would wear a Nazi uniform and harass freedom riders that were stumping for civil rights. He went and screamed at Martin Luther King. One of his subordinates punched Martin Luther King twice in the face. That was George Rockwell's guy. If you ever seen the clips or heard the story about, you know, guy punched Martin Luther King twice. He's like, I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to fight, but I want to know why you punched me like that. And it made them look so bad they had to apologize. But everything that going to campuses, talking about, it's all from that playbook. You know what I mean? And we see it come back again. And I think there's a lot to be said about like maybe some of this isn't good free speech, because if you look further into George Rockwell, one of the people he inspired who joined the American Nazi Party was a man named William Luther Pierce, who would go on to write the Turner Diaries, the American neo-Nazi Bible, which would eventually inspire the Oklahoma City bombing and Timothy McVeigh. And so you have a direct connection between that. Like if you had that bullet went in one slightly different direction, you might not have the Oklahoma City bombing, or that might set up different. But now, like, you know, we didn't take care of that. That wasn't fixed. However, it needed to be fixed. You know, and the Germans, I think, have a good fucking standpoint. Like, we don't need any Nazi imagery, anybody talking about Nazism ever, period, pretty much, because it's just poison ideology. If you had that law there or something else, you know, you don't have the development of a book that the FBI is connected to basically every single white nationalist slaying in the last fucking 60 years or 50, 40 years, wherever since it was made. And like, there is a tipping point here somewhere. And I think what we saw with this Charlie Kirk thing was them going like, fuck, that was our new guy. That he was the perfect middle ground between where our donors are that give us this money and that like confused, scared, but not completely on message moderate Republican Party who still needs to get radicalized into saying like, no, I think my Latino neighbors should go to a concentration camp. I think that fucking Jennifer's trans kids shouldn't use any fucking bathrooms. I think it's okay that, you know, sometimes we say the N-word to black people because they say it. And you're like, what the fuck? Nah, but like he was that guy. He provided them the courage and the comfort and the companionship to be their worst selves, which is antithetical to, you know, what you kind of are saying, you know, you want to go. You know, if somebody said in my chat, kindness is punk rock. And I think that's the sticking point. And it's hard to reconcile those, you know, the contradictions of like, dude, I really want us to love each other. But like, if you don't cut it out, I have to fuck you up because I can't let you hurt everybody else. You know what I mean? Like you're the zombie with the bite or the guy with the zombie bite that's like trying to come in. Like we gotta figure this one out, man.
Yeah, there's a failure in our system that that these people are allowed to exist and just generate propaganda that like sways public opinion into hurting other people. And that's exactly what he said. He's like, I don't hate trans people. I just don't think they should be able to get healthcare, like gender transition until they're 25 and shouldn't be able to like have to use the right bathroom. And it's like, brother, I get that I get to you, those sound like just eminently reasonable things. And I'm sure a lot of liberal people are like, well, we can talk about that. Right. But those people have no idea because I have a Discord community of like 3,500 plus people. And I've talked to hundreds of young trans kids. And the number that I can tell you that are like openly suicidal because nobody will listen to them. No one will let them talk to a fucking doctor. Their parents actively reject and abuse them for their trans identity, give them no validation or like grind it in, misgender them purposely that's so fucking prevalent. Mm-hmm. So prevalent. And that reasonable opinion doesn't even want to acknowledge or engage with it. They think that children are the property of the parents, and that is really the core problem right there. Yeah. That is the issue. Is
humans as property?
When I talk to them about it,
through that.
Yeah, when I talk to them about it, you know, they're like, well, you know, parents like blah blah blah, parents' rights. And I'm like, cool, okay, all right, I hear you. Well, what about the parents that are fucking abusive? What about the parents that are like actively selling their kids into like CSA? Because I've unfortunately I've had a variety of conversations with queer kids who have gone through these experiences too, because when you're a guy like me and you just openly are like, no, I'm not gonna abandon trans people. Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm going to tie myself to that fucking rock, and you're gonna have to throw me fucking too. I am a soldier in the Trans Foreign Legion. That is how I consider myself. So like when you do that, trans people start to open up to you and tell you these really horrific things. And these people with their zero empathy who don't even know trans people. Actually, I asked Cam Higby. He said he knew a trans person. And I said, have you ever talked about your opinions on trans people to them? And he's like, no. And I'm like, of course you fucking haven't. You don't have a trans friend. You've existed around a trans person. You have no idea what a sick little shit you fucking are is what it is. But yeah, like people are very focused on that. The next step of fascism. And even in my activist community, right? Like they would be afraid to do something. A lot of people are afraid to do what I did because they're like, that's going to be a reason for them to send the National Guard and like start cracking down. But as we see, they're going to do it anyway. They're not stopping. And like, they're not going to come up with a good reason. Like they're just going to, whatever reason that without resistance, they don't need a good reason, right? They're going to just do it. And that's,
you're playing by rules that don't exist. They've made a new rule for you and you're obeying it. So like that's like, and it's hard to get over that because it's like I understand people are terrified. You know what I mean? Like it's reasonable, but you got to figure out a way to get past that fear, whatever it is you have to do. You know what I mean? Because otherwise you're gonna if you have to live with it for the rest of your life, it's just gonna fucking own you. And if
Yeah,
it's
don't do what I did. Don't go from 0 to screaming at Cam Higby. Like definitely
modulate. Learn to modulate your vibe.
Yeah,
modulate
learn to
your vibe.
break the speed limit. Learn to run a red light and not feel bad about it. Like start there. But so moving back. So then Sunday. So I post my apology video. I think these are all great digressions, Tyler. So thank you for bringing them up.
No, you're fine. Sorry, I'm distracted. Go ahead.
So I do the apology. Next morning, my HR is like, hey. So I was required to do 3 days in the office, which was becoming 4. Another reason I was like very ready to be like, fuck this place.
Yeah.
When you work a tech job, and I know this is like for a lot of people, especially like my parents, right? Like they were like, my stepdad did construction for a long time. And so the idea that I would work from home just feels like an immense privilege, which it is, sure. But like the reality of my job is like, I was spending like hours talking to people in meetings across the world. I did not actively have to work with the people in my team or my manager or talk to them often. I was an engineer. I was doing technical tasks. I was reading. I need to focus on technical things. I need to like troubleshoot and problem solve. And all of those things are so much better done in a space that is just like not distracting, like an office. I had to take meetings in this office, just open office where you can hear people in the background. I'm struggling to hear. There's not enough conference rooms. They literally, Nordstrom did not even plan correctly for forcing people back in the office. There was not enough desks. They didn't give us good equipment. I was using the shitty like Dell default keyboard and like the mouse. We sent this back in. I'm like, my mouse doesn't have a forward and back button. Like this is the free one that came with the like. It's like, but I mean, like you're paying me almost $200,000, and you're like, this is the equipment you use. Like the lack of foresight, and again, like that's where I was just like, oh, these people are morons. Like this is like the top level actively stopped listening to the workers as time went on, as far as like what we needed to be effective. And like, I've never worked at a company like Nordstrom was a great environment to exist in because I never worked with more women and queer people and people of color. And in the technical world, that is super fucking rare. It was always like white dudes. And that is it's just like motorsports, or it's just like or regular, football. It's like, it's an environment where it just breeds like what exists there is just a lot of toxic masculine shit and like masculine humor. And it's like, that's fine, man. I don't need to exist in that everywhere. I actually prefer like more people and more types of like jokes and perspectives. So that's what kept me there. Was I just really liked my coworkers, and my coworkers really, really liked me, because as RTO and shit, the return to office shit happened, I spoke out every time. I was the guy people remembered in meetings, because when they were like, yep, and we're going back, I'm like, I brought up all the problems and I mentioned everything right to them. And I would get compliments from people like, thank you so much, So I on Monday, they're like, hey, don't come into the office for your own safety. And I said, oh, interesting. And then I thought about it, and I was like, this has nothing to do with my safety. This has everything to do with, if someone wants to fucking murk me, you just don't want it to be in front of your office or hit anybody else. That's the truth, is you just want less fucking heat. Or they were preparing to fire me. Either one of those is more likely than my safety. Yeah. And I was like, all right. And then I worked normally Monday. I was super distracted. I did not get a lot of work done. And then Tuesday, that early morning meeting with HR and a guy who's like 3 steps above me. And I'm like, well, this is going to go one of 2 ways. They're either going to be like, AJ, we're so sorry this has happened to you. This is so horrific. Do you want to take some time off? I think it would, or, which is what it actually was, which is, we saw the video and we don't think that represents Nordstrom's values. And they were like, I also made a video a couple months back because I went to a Fred Meyer just to get 3 sodas. I wanted 3 sodas for my partner and some friends. And I had to sit in a line. It was 8:30 p.m. I had to sit in a line of 25 people at the U-Scan because not a single cashier was there and one person was helping the U-Scans. And I was just like, this is automation, right? The way that AI is taking engineering jobs and shit, they are automating people out of jobs right fucking here. And it enraged me.
And it never works.
I fucking,
you're automating the job, and then it doesn't actually get automated.
No, just exactly.
Bro, just put a fucking vending machine there. God damn it. We already figured those out 100 years ago. But no,
And
yeah, the AI
happens
stuff, the
instead.
mistreatment of workers is fucking insane. You know, people are talking about in my chat about the return to office stuff. And like, yeah, the office culture, even from the 1980s and 90s, you know, that my mom was in, doesn't even exist anymore anyway. Like, these offices are all these derelict buildings, or like, it's glitzy and new, but it has no partitions, and it's like you're essentially a step away from everybody sitting on the fucking ground with a series of cables snaked into the fucking wall. And like nothing's there, you know. I have friends that went back, and there was no. This is everyone's probably heard this. No toiletries in the bathroom, like out of toilet paper or out of fucking soap. They didn't have like this person or that person that's supposed to be contracted to do something. They took that person off. Like, well, we can save money by bringing people back, and this, and like, yeah. But did you remember that you have to pay like an additional like 30 third-party staff to get the office operating? And they're like, what if we ask people with advanced degrees who have a specific job to do an additional job that's not their job? Like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, we're going to have them also do janitorial. Like, are you fucking out of your mind? Do you think they're going to still work there? They're like, well, I only need them for 4 months. Then I'm going to sell this company. I'm going to sell off every fucking asset we have. And it's just that story again and again and again, where it's just like, every worker I know is like, hey, come back to this crumbling infrastructure so that we can take like 2 or 3 good pictures and then send it up to the fucking angel investor that gave us another 9 months, and then we're going to completely fucking kick this thing out from underneath you. It's everywhere I worked in journalism was like that before COVID. You know, it's like, dude, I am fucking in the ghost of an industry at this point. Like, fucking what's haunted is haunted. And that shit sucks. But like, you know, you're moving away from it. You can stay in there, or you move into another IT thing, YouTube. What's the future?
I have been, because I've been working for 20 years and like never really taken time off and never been fired before. I'm going to take advantage of I'm going to sip up the government fucking teat and get some of my tax money back and get that unemployment money for as long as I can do it. I think I've decided. And I mean, I've already got a decent sized platform. The truth is, and this is what my partner said when I got fired, I was anxious for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then I was like, holy shit, I'm so happy. I'm so free. Like, I feel so much better. Like, I had sincerely, I was surprised. Just like being alive right now with the way I ride my motorcycle and the shit I've done. I'm kind of surprised I made it this far at all. I kind of feel like I'm getting like bonus time already. And I felt like I was on kind of borrowed time working at a normal job, no matter what. And I spent a lot of time saving for that reason. Like, I don't live a super lavish lifestyle. The most lavish thing I do is, you know, I buy things with cash. You know, I own the things I have other than my home. And I was fortunate to get a home because I bought it in 2014 with my ex-wife. You know, we scrimped and saved every penny, and we got in like right as like prices. I mean, prices were already insane, but like right as prices were becoming totally unachievable. Like, even as coworkers, my coworkers, people making the same or more as me, cannot afford a house outside of like 45 plus an hour plus outside of Seattle. People making $150,000, $200,000 a year cannot afford a home. They have to rent in Seattle. House prices are fucking insane.
And then there's always the thing that you find out too, because it's the same for me and my wife. Like, if I didn't have GI home ownership bill, basically veterans home ownership program, and she'd been saving for a long time, and we had our money together, no other thing, we would have never gotten a house. But then once you get one, it's like, oh shit, you own property? Oh, welcome to the club. And it's like you can like, oh, okay, what, I can get another house? Or like, oh yeah. Sorry, when you don't have a house, that's not for everybody. But once you do, like, would you like to take out more credit than you could probably ever pay back in your life? Like, no. We're like, okay, well, a lot of other people are knocking down our door to overextend their fucking home mortgage by 4 times its value. So let us know. You can always foreclose and get most of your money back. Like, what in the fuck are you talking about? Like, owning property is fucking psychosis. You know what I mean? And it's that same thing is offered to all these other people. And we've been, you know, the last several generations before us, I think you're about my age. I'm 38 now, unfortunately.
I'm 1 year older than you. Just
no shit. Yeah. No, dude, fuck you. You're hanging in there, bro. I might be getting old. Maybe we're getting old, but you look like you're hanging in there.
40 is coming. Oh, I don't want to do it. Yeah.
I should have watched like 2 fucking like 20-year-olds looking at us like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah, the generations before us especially just bought the whole fucking housing stock out. And there's people that don't even live in America, you know, rich fucking Anglo foreigners who come in and buy up whole fucking housing tracts. It was an issue that we had in West Virginia when I was doing reporting in Charleston. There was this one Australian lady who owned like a sizable portion of real estate, and she would just let the homes go to rot, speculating on the city coming by and buying them up for, you know, a discount price, basically doing the math to the fucking dime of like, oh, I'll make 20 grand off of this in about half a year or so. And like, that's where we live. Like, we are so much in the fucking dustbin of history, and all of these bad decisions are bad decisions that have been made before. I live in a fucking rerun of other fucking decades, like monumental economic failures again and again and again. Like, when I was fucking getting out of the Marines was the fucking housing crisis, and now it's like weird to call it that. Like we used to see people get evicted from their homes on the nightly news every night, and it's like, well, what happens now? Like, we're stoked if someone can get back in one of them fucking dead houses from the 2007, 2009. Like, what about everybody else? Like, oh, they're all renting basements. Everybody I know that's younger than me is renting a fucking basement somewhere, watching the fucking ceiling leak. Someone's toilet overflowed 4 years ago, and they died up there, and no one knows if they can fucking even get in the house. Like, what in the fuck is the... And, you know, there's so much where people get stuck on, like, you know, we got to fucking, this country's great. We got to fight for this. Da, 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 da. You need to not step out of line. You know, think about what you're going to lose, that risk. And, like, it just doesn't exist for people. Like, I can't imagine what it's like, really. You know, I know that's the whole thing. But, like, to be somebody who is not even at least fucking white and manage to fucking scrape out a fucking house in the suburbs of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and like they gotta live, you know, in an even shittier way. And it's like, hey man, no, you gotta fucking be thankful for this. Don't raise your voice. Don't go out there and talk. Don't talk shit about this. You have the most reasonable fucking grievances with this situation ever, period. But if you do, we are going to find a way to take that last little bit away from you, and we'll take it away forever. Like, oh yeah, you fucking thought being a fucking second shift manager at Wendy's was fucking cool. Hope you didn't say anything on Twitter about an actual neo-Nazi saying that your people are fucking loud and aggressive and your music sucks. If you said you don't care that guy's dead, we're going to fucking take away your position as a manager. Fucking white people are going to hunt you in the fucking, on the internet. And then it's like, when you get done with that, like, okay, hey, by the way, don't think any violent thoughts. Don't go crazy now. Like, we fucked you every single possible way from the day you were born till now. Don't think fucking crazy. And it's for everybody. Take it. And I don't know what the powers that be are thinking. Maybe everyone's just trying to scrounge up that last bit of liquid gold before the whole thing shuts down. It feels insane. But like, I think people are going to start busting out, like losing their fucking minds over this shit, because it's too much. I have plenty, and it's too much for me to handle. Do you know what I mean? Like, as far as when I was a kid, I was like, if I could make $30,000 a year, I'll have everything I ever needed. Do you know what I mean? And other people thinking like, that's fucking like no money. Like, dude, that's $15 an hour. Do you know what $15 an hour is like if you come from fucking Westside of Cincinnati? Like, dude, that's like a lot of good fucking factory jobs are like 15 to 17. Like, I made it. I'm not working I'm not working at Home Depot. I'm not at GameStop. I'm making $15 an hour. That's all I wanted. And like, you know, I made that. And now you can't even have that because like 15 doesn't give you shit. You don't get benefits. They're fucking cracking up fucking every fucking union. It's fucking bonkers. And I just don't know. I don't know what keeps people from freaking out. And I don't think that there's much left there anymore. I think that the meniscus between people just going like, am I going to fucking push somebody in front of this goddamn train today is going to be gone. And like, I can't blame people for snapping and losing their minds and fucking crack. I just can't. I literally can't. Cause it's like, I don't know what the fuck you thought. I don't know what the fuck you thought they were going to do when you treated them like this for so long. Like us. Yeah. Sorry, I was a diatribe and a half. My bad.
No, you're totally good. You said a lot of things that totally connect with me. We live in a scam society right now. We absolutely live in a scam. The people that like working for that financial services company, I had no understanding of the stock market. I had no understanding of investing. Like you, I had been working at a Best Buy and actually I'd worked for like Apple in a Best Buy.
Hey,
but I remember making
shoplifted from Best Buy.
No, I'm so glad. I'm glad to hear that. You know, it's pretty difficult. I'm proud of you. I remember making like 70 grand at that job because I had like it was like a small commission and thinking like, holy shit, like I have so much money now. Like,
Yeah.
what do I do with all this as like a single guy? Like, and then I never thought I would make $100,000. I was raised by my grandparents and they were like a trucker and a postal worker. So like I had like a high school education that I barely finished. You know, I was not compatible with school, which I think the ADHD is definitely which I got diagnosed with like a year and a half ago or whatever. I think that was what did it. But like, I never imagined making 100K or whatever, like ever. And the moment I did, it was just like surreal. Like, what do I do with this? But the future is now, but I realized like, oh, like with that financial service company, I talked to more people about it. I realized the stock market is a giant scam. The stock market, the reason they tell you to bet on like index funds is because you just bet on the entire economy going up and up. Because it's one of the best investment vehicles for if you just have mass fucking amounts of money. But if you are playing individual stocks, you are playing a game that billionaires and all their fucking, like, that is the game that they are playing. Manipulation is happening all the fucking time, constantly underneath you. And if you are paying attention to what Jim Cramer says, you are so far behind the 8 ball of what, like, you are literally getting actively scammed if you're doing what he says on purpose, because he knows what he's doing. He is part of
Jim Cramer still being on TV is fucking crazy. Because I remember seeing him back in the day, and I thought it was like a bit. I was like, people were paying attention. People were putting like money on what this guy said. That's crazy. And then like
because the media is a scam. The media is a scam. It's all manufactured consent. It's all propaganda for more liberal-minded people, for people who don't know what's going on. And when I saw the tariffs come down, and when I saw that shit, I was like, oh, he's gonna tank the fucking economy. Obviously, that's what's happening. I sold every stock I had, like, openly. I was like hard into Apple. I was hard into like specific bets that I had. I just sold it all, which, actually Apple's still down from what I bought it at, which is the majority of it. But like my Bitcoin's way up, and like, I don't feel bad about that decision at all. I'm glad to be out of the market. I'm glad to not be handing my money to to not have it playing in the place where all those motherfuckers are at, but the future is not getting better. Like Trump, like I'm talking to my partner about this, and it's just like, he's got 3.5 years left, like this is where we're at 6 months from now. Like, what do you mean we're gonna, like, I'm gonna like sit back and like just take it? And everyone, like, that's where everyone's at. That's where my parents are at, right? There's a lot of people that are like, well, just like when Bush was in office or whatever, right? We'll go down, we'll go low, and we'll just wait for better conditions to like come up. But it's like, that's not gonna happen. Like the country has been completely, like, when he destroyed all the federal workers, when Doggy came in and destroyed and like fired thousands, like hundreds of thousands of people, like that is like, I think that, I just realized, like, oh, this is a complete reformation of our country. And what's cool about it is, like, a more anarchist minded person is like, I didn't think any of that shit, like the problems were already there, right? And I was like, oh fuck, leftists are going to have to get in office and it's going to be really unpopular when we destroy all the government services. They kind of did it for us. They've affected, the right wing has obliterated all the government service, all the safety support networks. So what we have to be doing, what we must be doing right now is building a parallel economy outside of our capitalist state in order to solve problems. Like, if you, like, healthcare, right? Like I'm trying, like, in your neighborhood kind of thing, like, meet the people in your neighborhood. Are there nurses there? Because you might need medical care, and you might not no longer have any access or ability to go to a hospital, either for financial, or the hospital might just get shut fucking down, right? Because hospitals are getting shut down because all the federal funding is fucking gone. Food might be a problem. I built like planter boxes outside. I was like, I want to be able to get like fresh fruit and shit, and like be able to share that with my neighbors, to have something. I bought some solar panels because energy prices are gonna fucking skyrocket. Like, everything. It is a matter of, like, it's just going to get more and more unlivable, and more that, the big income inequality map, right? Yeah. It's just like this, like, it's just going to be the amount of people, it's just going to keep sliding, that cannot exist. And it's going to reach a breaking point. And I'm at the front edge of it by being so vocal and active. And I want to continue doing that, but I think I'm going to take a step back a little bit, because I don't have a backup plan for this backup plan. Not in the same way, and so I've learned a lot in the last 6 months about these provocateurs, and about activism, about engaging and activating people. And because, like I said, there's just not enough people in like doing activist work. Like everybody I know who's like, they're all awesome people, like doing their best, like tracking down ICE, like trying to help, like get involved, trying to walk people through to their appointments at the federal building for their immigration to hope they don't get abducted. And if they do, at least to document it and like share that information. Like those people are all so burned out because we've been doing it for fucking months. And like now we're at this breaking point and we need relief. We need more people to get involved. And so I'm going to start the process. I also realized that not enough people in this activist communities, it's a lot of the people that are on the lower rungs of our economic system, people doing retail jobs, people doing nurses, phlebotomists, you know, like these entry-level kind of positions who have been doing them for a few years, but like don't have the professional experience, like project managing and like leadership and like a lot of these like higher level skills that like I have built and like done for years. You know, I've existed and I've actively succeeded in our capitalist society for years. I understand how it works. I understand how to play this fucking game. I just don't want to do it anymore. You know, like that's the difference. And that's something that I think I can definitely help teach and like spread that knowledge out. And there are a lot of really great tools other people are building to help with that. And that's what I want to do. And I have time off and I feel like now is the best time for me to have maximum amounts of free time in order to help activate and help other people get activated.
No, I get that 100%. I think like, you know, talk about parallelism. I'm not necessarily like an anarchist. I'm not going to get into the whole fucking thing with you. That's fine. But I think the most important thing is to do something. To find that, like, because there's so many people that want to sit here and have an eyes to stomach conversation for 16 hours about whether or not supply lines are possible and da-da-da-da-da. Get out there, try it, and then I guarantee you, whatever the actual solution is, you're always going to be a little bit off. You know, whatever I want, whatever you want. And get out there like, hey, man, like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, well, I'm already out here. I'm doing my planner boxes and stuff. Like, okay, can I do it? How can I help you? You know, you get out there and then make your mistakes and, like, get your fucking hands dirty and start building stuff. Because if you're paralyzed by conversation, if you're stuck by politeness, if you're like, no, the only thing I can do is the most perfect thing. And if I can't think of the perfect thing to do with one strike, I shouldn't do anything. It's like, dude, that is how you fail. You got to get out there. You're a bike rider. How many times did you try to do so many different things with getting your bike started, even riding it, staying safe, popping a wheelie the first time, trying to learn how to drive and have your camera right when you look and everything, all that. How many times did you mess up before you became good at it? And I think people just have to understand that that is what the new system that has to replace whatever the fuck this chaos is. That's what we have to build it out of. And it comes from us going like, hey, all right, fine. Fuck the fucking stuff shirts. Fuck Fox News. Fuck CNN. Fuck all these goddamn, you know, naysayers and all these fucking Columbia grads and coastal elites and blah, 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 blah. What in the fuck is happening in Seattle today? And not even what is happening in Seattle. What is happening right now at the corner of fucking Street and Avenue in this moment, and how can I help? Or I have an idea. Will you guys entertain it? Do you know what I mean? And that's what we need. And like, get out there, get your fucking feet dirty, fuck touching the grass, pull that shit out by its goddamn roots. Understand that it's a fucking shit ass goddamn capitalist fucking scam to sell you gasoline, and fucking start putting in some native species. All right, fucking replant the world. And I think like bit by fucking bit, that's what we do. I would rather go out and have like whatever the dumbest fucking lefties idea of, like, we're going to try this, and like we try and fuck it up, and then they can go, damn it. All right, what's our next plan? Like, okay, maybe we try this, and then it's my idea and I fuck up. God damn it. But then we move together, and all of a sudden it's like, well, what do we have? Dude, we got 6 years of working together, trusting that I know you can do this and you can do that, and then we figure it out. You know, go do every single thing you can, every little bit. If you're like, I don't like anarchism and I want to go try to fucking take over the government, well, then you better be out there taking the fucking government over. I don't want to hear about like, oh, I can't listen to these guys. We should try running for office. Well, where's the suit? Where's the tie? Where's the fucking, where's the clipboard with the fucking thing? I can help you and I can help him. I can try to figure it out. I can do what I can do, but we got to start doing. Being paralyzed by these, really, it is the liberal thing. It's like what I think is most represented by like the Destiny DGG sphere. Even though they even get out and do some stuff here and there, it's that people are so embarrassed or afraid of the possibility that something that they hold deeply for no real good reason. I read of 6 or 7 ideas that disagree with the ideas that hurt me. So now I'm holding them like to my fucking heart. And I'm so scared that I'm going to find out that one of those 7 ideas isn't going to fucking work out right, that I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit here and tell you how in 1963 somebody tried to do this in a different city, in a different state, in a different language, with a different entire background, and it didn't work. Like, nah, fuck that, man. We're going to get out there. Fucking, I think today we're doing planter boxes. I think tomorrow we're doing fucking surveys. I think the day after that we're going to go to the fucking rifle range and try to figure out some shit about that in personal defense. And I think that's it. I think one of the most important things for this parallelism too is to defeat the monopoly on state violence. Not like you have to go out there and hurt anybody, but I say this on my program all the time. If there's anything I learned from fucking right wingers, it is that the cops will be polite as shit to you if you show up armed. And I don't mean just like a pissant fucking pistol in your waistband. You go out there like, hey, what's up? I am wearing my trans flag fucking sappy plate carrier. And I do have a fucking Blahe fucking helmet on. I made that myself with some fucking acrylics.
And kitty ears.
Yeah,
and kitty ears. Too. Yeah.
But I am also fucking clipped up with this fucking 5.56. So like, we're going to have a conversation. Just tell me where you want me to stand, officer. We'll be polite, but like, understand, we are polite on both of our terms instead of just simply yours. I think there's a lot to be said for that. The second I saw them hold down that fucking, they went and robbed a stupid ass, or those ranchers went and took over the fucking Parks Service building, you know, out in Colorado or wherever it is a few years ago. I was like, oh, okay. You're fucking, it's not fucking 90s Waco anymore. It's a different setup, and they're not trying to go in and push on every single person that holds it. So we have open carry, we have fucking legal concealed carry. You can like it, you can hate it. It doesn't change things. All the fucking righties are strapped up. All the cops are strapped up. And all of the people that are whispering in their ears on a day-to-day basis are like, why don't you just say that they hit you and shoot them? Like, you can't plant a pistol on me. I came with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and don't hurt anybody. Don't go out trying to fucking start fights or pick fights. But I think that's very important that people go, I'm safe not because I can call the cops. I'm safe because I can call my friends. And that's that's what's important. You know what I mean? Yes. Sorry, I don't know if that's something that you can co-sign or anything. I don't want to. I know
million things aggressive. You said. I totally agree with. Some of the reasons that you've described anarchist principles in what you've just said, right? The idea that you come up with an idea, you theorize an idea, what can I do? And then you do the praxis, you try it, and then you let that praxis reinform your theory and adjust your theory, and then you try it again and improve. That is what I've been doing in all of these situations. And it's an iterative process. People focus on, and just because I'm an anarchist does not mean there's a thing we call, diversity of tactics. We respect diversity of tactics. Katie Wilson is a Zoran Mandani. I do not pronounce his name correctly.
Zoran Mandani.
Mamdani. Thank you. She is like him. She is running for Seattle's city mayor. She is running on socialized housing, not just homeless beds, socialized housing. She is running on actively in investing in public transit and charging rich people, taking rich people's fucking money and using that, which is a thing that our current mayor, our Democratic mayor, Bruce Harrell, had zero interest in. In fact, she was responsible for a giant levy that raised like $300 million off of the Amazons. Basically, it was like a payroll tax where like a percentage of, based on your highest paid employee and the number of employees, you paid a percentage to the city. And it raised way more money than we expected. And it's the only reason Seattle is functioning right now is because we had a massive deficit run up by the mayor into the cops with all their fucking overtime. Cops in Seattle make $500,000. Some of them make $500,000, $400,000. I'm not talking about the chief. I'm talking about beat fucking cops making OT. It is insane. Yeah. And he just handed it all to them, burned up all her fucking money, didn't do any of his promises. And so like, she's literally like saved our city. She destroyed him in the primary. And I actively campaigned for her a whole fucking bunch. I did interviews. I was on the street, right? Just because I'm an anarchist doesn't mean I don't believe that it's how can we gain power? That's the end of the day. Understanding how firearms operate, feeling confident in yourself, being able to protect yourself and your community is about having power. And that is what the right wing understands. That's why they're so obsessed with guns, because they know at the end of the day, that's what gives them power. At the end of the day is force.
Yeah.
And when Cam Higbee is sending his fucking goons on people, it's just because he can't kill you legally. He wants you to die. They want you to die, but they can't do that legally. So they'll do everything short of that, that they think they can do to take away your job, which of course is like taking away your employment, which is taking away your money, which takes away your potential to afford housing. And like, it's because they want to kill you.
Yeah.
So if
you take it back to the 1960s and the Civil Rights Act, which is the fundamental thing that Charlie Kirk is against, that's inarguable. He hates the fucking Civil Rights Act. All of them do. The Civil Rights Act is a series of acts from the mid-1950s. I know I'm not necessarily mansplaining this to you. I'm telling it to everybody.
Oh, I want to hear it.
The point of the Civil Rights Act was, first and foremost, you go back to the Martin Luther King, give us the ballot. And it was the unenforcement of protection for voters' rights in a lot of cases. So they had poll taxes, they legalized those, and they made it to the last 6 states, which you could probably guess which ones it were, could not enforce poll tax, i.e. if you don't show up with $20, you can't vote. They made sure that you couldn't do harassment and intimidation at the polls, basically so that, if you wanted to vote in black community in the South back in the day, it was like, how are we going to get there? Like, you either got to roll deep with shotguns at the risk of state power just throwing you in the fucking in the pen anyway, or you got to risk somebody fucking taking a shot at you. And that's what almost all of these were, desegregation and a lot of protection for black people to get to the polls. And it was for black people, and it was a fight by black people, but it benefited Latinos, it benefited women, it benefited the Jewish American population, and it benefited basically anybody that could be harassed and intimidated at the polls. And that these polls were inspected and double checked. And that's a fundamental of it. They wanted to have those guns. They wanted to have people out there with weapons, the white people did, in order to keep people from executing their rights. When you're afraid to go out and go to a protest and talk because you're going to be out there, fucking skin to the wind, and there's going to be a right-winger out there dressed like a fucking Tarkov reject, you're in a position where you're like, I might be afraid to go. I don't want to go out there. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to da-da-da. And here's the thing is that's a reasonable thing, but you gotta, if you want to help this thing out, you got to get past that fear, either by doing not the best thing in your mind, by just not being afraid anymore. You can be a psycho like me and just not care. Or, you get your helmet and you get your flak, or you get your friends together and you mutually raise money and you fucking set yourself up a little fucking homegrown militia. And then you got you and your friends, mutual concern club out there. Like, what are those guys doing? They hang around. I don't believe in guns. I don't like having guns. So I don't have a gun. I just got a sign. Tracy believes in guns. Tracy fucking loves guns, as a matter of fact. And she's got 2 of the 20 she has apparently with her today. So that's where we're standing, And I think that's a good place to be.
No, it's important to get connected with people in your local community. I think what I see a lot, and again, what liberalism encourages is it encourages you to get upset and scream into the void, either in social media or at your fucking legislator, or, even with Nordstrom. So the last thing I'll say about the video formally is that so in my video, I call for a boycott on Nordstrom and any company that is doing this, ABC, NBC, or MSNBC, Office Depot. There was a local corporate lawyer that had fired somebody randomly. We need to be tracking these companies. I stopped buying Coke products after, I think it was whatever they were doing with supporting Visa or MasterCard or something, which is also why I encourage the parallel economy, right? Because as more and more companies are I'm actively boycotting and not going to, it's well, I got to get it from somewhere. And it's well, if I can do it myself or within my community directly, man, I'm really taking away power from these other.
Yeah, this is actually a concept I talk about. Instead of boycott, because boycott's hard, focus on spending your money so that you don't have it to accidentally spend. This is the way I talk about it, and I like to talk over you on it. And I called it first 100 Fridays or whatever, and people got mad at me because how can you spend $100? Hey, just focus on it, but just try to. When you go grocery shopping and stuff, make sure that you buy local first and burn your money out so that you don't have it to accidentally spend on Amazon. If you're like, oh, what's going on? Well, I gotta fucking spend money today. All right, I'm gonna buy an overly expensive, bunch of envelopes made out of local paper. I wouldn't normally get these. I get the cheap ass Xerox envelopes, but I got to spend my in the city money today, so I got to buy it, and this happens to be made from some person. Now I got these envelopes I wouldn't have bought otherwise. But then you have envelopes, you know what I mean? And it sounds like a stupid thing, but you just took that away from the 3M Corporation. You're like, what fuck? Who's the fuck is 3M? 3M invented Agent Orange.
Yeah,
you
they
know
also
what
make
I
the
mean?
really
With other
good
people.
double-sided tape that and toothpaste and fucking a million things. Yeah.
And so like you bring it back, and that's how you start in the community. Don't always, and this is a thing I talk about, and it's not something that was brought up, but it's the stop trying to not do. You know what I mean? Like because that's a big hyperfixation on us. And no, it's not boycott, you know, hell yeah. But like people try to hyperfixate on these ideas of not doing, you know, this pullback. Yeah. Instead of not doing, figure out how you can not do through doing. You know what I mean? Hey, I don't want to, I'm not going to buy. Yeah, I'm not going to buy from McDonald's. Okay. What are you going to do instead of buying from McDonald's? Don't just not do something. Well, okay, I'm going to go to a food truck. Well, there you go. All right, you're going to go to the local food truck. I'm not going to go and buy stuff from Meijer this week because I want to try to reduce my impact on groceries. All right, what are you going to do instead? I'm going to take the extra drive out. I'm going to go to the farmer's market. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do something. And sometimes it'll seem frou-frou and it'll seem extra, but that's the best way to get out there. That's how, if you were like, I don't know how to talk to farmers, I guarantee you there's some crazy fucking lefty farmers out there. And farmers, environmentalism goes like hand in hand in ways that you haven't even comprehended if you're the average person out there. And that's how you start meeting people. You know, your dollar can carry you into places that you haven't been. And that activity, bringing it back here, making sure that your ducats don't get fucking slowly but surely sucked out of your community permanently to some fucking investment fund that's run out of the Cayman Islands and shit. It's so fucking critical. Always make sure that you couple your I'm not going to do with a do. It's like one thing I always want to try to get out there to people. I totally agree.
We must build. Building is the key thing, and that's what I realized. Right, is like going out and screaming at him is like that's the thing. I don't think I built anything there. I think I just kicked the fucking hornet's nest.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do. We need to be building, and that what you can build. There's no restrictions. Like just build something. What is important to you? Like the way that I have found, people ask me about like, how do I start? Like, I don't even know where to start in my community. I don't know where to find people. And I think a lot of people, it's like, oh, I don't know if I have time because I'm doing all these other things. I got school and I got this work, and which is all fucking valid. But we live in a society that is designed to sap you of your energy to do any of that on purpose. And so if we're all just sapped of our energy and not doing anything, guess what? We're basically just agreeing that we're all just gonna die here and like let it go. And I just refuse to do that. I'm not. I ain't gonna do that. So I'm gonna fight till the fucking end. Like they're not. I'm not fucking going to El Salvador. You know. But yeah, you have to build something, and so like that's why I started doing more like. I was riding my motorcycle to these events, and then I was broadcasting it and talking to friends about it. And they were like, oh, that's fun. I want to ride my motorcycle. I'm going to ride my motorcycle anyway. Why don't I ride to where you're at? And then my friends started to just come with me. And then we met other people who saw me there with my homies who were like, we do this thing. Would you like to get connected with us? Right. And it's like, it just slowly, and that's why the iterative process is so critical. Cause it feels like, oh, I'm not doing a lot now, of course. And that's why we all focus on electoral politics, because electoral politics is the easy button, because then you just get to do it, right? But like that's, as we're seeing now, like when you have a Democratic Party, when you have an alternative party that has no interest in like actually doing what you want to do, that is what is necessary, radically necessary, because don't like 2028, let's say you get a Democratic president. Does anyone have faith? Like, if you have faith that we're going to rebuild this country with a Democratic president, with this party, I think you're just kind of delusional. Like, this is just, they've not demonstrated zero interest, zero understanding. They're still fighting people who are talking about important, critical policies that might be able to solve problems. If they're not talking about universal basic income, if they're not like, we are running on that, we're going to do that, you know, like that's where it has to be before you're even close to meeting the moment that we are currently in now, that after Trump having done all this shit.
No, it's true.
Build.
Local.
To build.
Yeah. You go outside, and it's you know, it's stupid and corny, but if you build it, they will come. Very often
Yes.
it's like, if you're like, man, there's nowhere like this around me, dude, it might be it. You're seeing the problem, and it might suck, and you might have a lot going on, but it might be on you to be the person that is the first one to toss those sticks together. And, you know, it's the old fucking kid story, stone soup. You start, and all of a sudden it might be getting revved up. And like, you cannot rely on the federal government to fix especially local problems. The federal government is for international issues only, right? Like, and issues between states. You're like, oh, dude, I'm gonna vote in a Bernie Sanders or something. It's like, dude, he'll give you support, but it's state level. It's only gonna work if the states want to do what he wants to do. Like, what about the state? Like, I'm small. Like, all right, we'll start with your city and work your way up. It's hard to ignore when money starts flowing. It's hard to ignore when people start working together, when they're happy, when their kids get smarter, when their fucking cars don't get shooken apart by fucked up roads, when the fucking wastewater goes away and the fresh water comes in. That's hard to ignore. And if you can be the person whose signature is on what makes that happen, people will trust you when you say, hey, at the state level, this. Hey, at the state level, this. And if you get to the state level, you say, I think that the rest of y'all should do this. This is how we do it here. And you all look fucked up. It's going to be way harder to ignore you than just like, hey man, look, I pay my taxes. Why is the war not ending yet? Like, dude, you gotta do more than just the bare minimum. You have to vote. You have to pay your taxes for a lot of different reasons, mostly just because you got to fucking keep the fucking can in this current system from getting kicked too far. But then that takes 2 seconds. Go do all the rest of your shit as well and start focusing on that real thing. And it might be your entire lifetime. Plant a tree that other people will fucking get to sit in long after you're dead, or the shade, they'll get to sit in the shade long after you're dead. And you know, it sucks, but we got handed the short stick, and we got to make sure that we don't hand it off to other people shorter, the way that the last generations did to us, in my opinion.
Yes. I think that riding a motorcycle, I feel like has really, like, it's really like changed my perspective on things. I remember having the more liberal, I mean, I was a liberal person for a long time before I even knew what that meant at all, because that's like the default I was taught through public school was like, get a good job, go to college, you know, all my family, like, go to college, get a good job, make a bunch of money, make $2 million so that you can retire, you know, and then go live your life for free when you're 60, 70, right? Like that's what I was sold. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And as I got older, just watching the way, you know, through the 2008 crisis and through COVID, it was just like, I don't know if that's even going to be possible for me, like realistically. Like those are things that like that you're selling me, that like nothing is what is happening at the top is not pointing our country towards. And the realization that like the more I rode, you know, like I can die any fucking day, any moment of this fucking day. I could get a fucking brain aneurysm. Like nothing is promised. Like why am I focusing my life on 20, 30 years down the road to something I may never fucking see? There's a non-zero possibility I will never fucking see that. And I remember when I was working for Best Buy, I spent 7 years scraping by and putting into a 401k because everyone told me it was so critical, especially to get that started. And when I left it at 25, you know how much my 401k after from like 18 to fucking 25? And I was like I was living in a trailer park and I was homeless for part of the time and I was super financially stressed out. I had like $4,300 in that thing. What is that? Nothing. That's no money today, you know, like that it meant nothing. And so it was very formative. And it's like, no, I need to focus on like this week, this 6 months to a year, and then target my life for maybe 3 to 5 years. And that's it. Like everything, you cannot guarantee the world changing events that change our economy and change how you have to think about it they're happening all the time. It's accelerating. And as global climate change is coming up and like we're having more crises, it's going to keep happening. And yeah, it's more about withstanding things, surviving as long as you can while targeting, you know, whatever your goals are going to be, but like focusing on that. That's like my advice to like younger people now is like, don't think about your fucking retirement. Think about like how you're going to get through this next 3 years, you know, like.
So, I mean, I think we're in a good spot too. I don't want to. I'll sit here and ramble with you for the rest of your day. I will absorb all of you think you found free time, but trust me, I'll keep you going. It's two ADHD people fucking talking to each other. We'll end up on fucking video games soon enough.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate you having me on. I'm good. I'm gonna go for a ride. I'm gonna go write some video, think about some things. I've got a totally new, that's kind of my thing now is I'm like, I'm going to take some time. I'm going to go ride every day for a little bit, go take a nice long walk, like get outside. The biggest thing I'm missing with my dog is I used to, at the end of my day, is we used to go for like a fucking hour and a half, 90 minutes. And that was like my mental decompression for the day. It's where I would like think about the day's events, like start maybe like write. I learned that I write. I'm very creative when I'm moving. When I'm riding my motorcycle, I feel very creative. I have brains going, you know, and when I'm walking, but like sitting in my house is just not good, especially like working these, you know, sit down jobs. You're staring at your computer all day. Like I get the fuck outside. So yeah, I'm going to go do that. And yeah, I really appreciate you having me on to talk about it. And
SquidTips on YouTube, no longer on Twitter. Biscuit on the Blue Sky.
Yeah. Oh, and then let me introduce you to my little kitty before you go.
Oh, hell
my little chinkin. My little chinkin. This is my little.
See, I got told up. I can't show you my. There, I got a cat, or I got a rabbit. He won't ever let you pick him up. Adorable.
Oh yeah, rabbits are cute. I see a lot. I get a lot of bunnies in my backyard, and I'm getting more now that my dog's not around. So maybe I'll like feed. Should I put food out for them or something?
No,
like
wild rabbits are fine. They'll eat the grass. They're good. At most, you could put out like some nice herbs. If you get like parsley or like cilantro, if you want to see them closer, they'll come in and check that out.
Oh, okay. I do like cilantro. I got that in my planter box right now. But yeah. Cool, man. Well, have a good day. Have a good stream. And
take
then
it easy, boss.
Yeah.
All right. See you. Thanks for your time. Good luck out there. Stay safe on the roads, man. Keep your head up.
You know it. Ride fast. Take chances.
All right. Take it easy. All right. Well, that was very fun. That was SquidTips. I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation. Recharging chat right now. Go ahead and say the word kitty or say the word bunny. Say bunny for bunnies, kitty for kitties. And now my camera is too dark because my G-Hub is completely fucked and I had to change the exposure during that. Folks, I'll be back in just a second. I've got to hit the head. Thank you again to SquidTips. Thank you to you guys for hanging out. I'm going to talk with chat here in a second. And until I get back, stay frosty.
Hope you enjoyed your time on the Westside.